You're about to start listening to the second episode of Viviendo en Pitenglish. I truly appreciate your support and your comments. If you like this podcast, feel free to share it with someone who might find it useful. Let's go! I'm your host, Anna, and I will be your English teacher. A teacher who has decided to move away from the boring and absurd methods used in schools and academies to teach English. Fill in the gaps, grammar lessons, present simple, verb to be. Instead, I have created a unique method that will truly help you learn English without frustration. And finally, stop thinking that el inglés se me da mal. In this second episode, I want to explain to you why do I hate the Spanish education system. But for that, I want to ask you to close your eyes. Well, if you are walking or driving, don't close them, please.
Por favor, es que no quiero que nadie después me diga, sí, es que como me dijiste que cerrara los ojos, tal, me caí, tuve un accidente. No, please. Vale, está bien. If you are driving or walking, don't close them.
Now, back to what I was saying. Think of your teenage self. Piensa en tu adolescente, tu yo adolescente. That teenager who went to school day in and day out. Now, think of your English classes. Remember your teacher, their face, their voice. Did they smile or were they serious? Did they have a nice voice? Did they smell good? And now, I want you to listen to the following scene and see if it sounds familiar.
Good morning. Open your books on page 147. Hoy vamos a aprender en el pasado simple. Okay, so the past simple is used to talk about actions that happened in the past and stayed there. El pasado simple se usa para acciones que ocurrieron en el pasado y se quedaron ahí. And it's formed like subject, verb with ed or the second column. Did you understand? Okay, now do exercises 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They are all fill in the blanks. Por favor, calladito, ¿eh?
What?
I don't know if that sounds familiar to you, but from the time I was 6 until I was 22, I heard that speech day after day, year after year. And yes, I completely understand why a large percentage of Spanish population hates English. Who wouldn't hate English if the only perception we have of the language is doing fill in the blanks? But that's not all. Close your eyes again and listen to this.
Listen to Mia and Noah talking about their holidays. Then, fill in the gaps with the correct answer. Now, listen again.
What?
What? Did it give you goosebumps? ¿Te han dado escalofríos? Well, that's how it was and how it still is. Because maybe you think the system has changed, but no. Everything remains the same. Todo sigue siendo igual. They give things different names, change laws, and try to convince you that education is changing. But it's not. Do you know how I know it? Because I was a student and then a teacher within the system. And nothing has changed. In my 4 years working in schools, I have encountered all kinds of teachers. But 99% of English teachers still teach their English classes based on grammar, vocabulary, and reading. They still give more importance on written part than on the spoken part. All of them still use the book as the base for everything. And they still use the fill in the blanks exercises for people to learn English. Todo el mundo usa el ejercicio de fill in the gaps. In these 4 years, I've stepped outside the box. Me he salido de la caja muchas veces. And made my lessons different. And do you know what I have achieved? On the one hand, my students love my classes. And they were waiting for the next English class. But on the other hand, I have hurt my students. Because the following year, they didn't have me as their teacher. And therefore, they had to go back to their boring English classes based on exams, grammar exercises, etc. And it's very frustrating. Because in these 4 years in school, I've met teachers who hated me. Conocido a profesores que me odiaban. And they hated me for making my classes different. And they forced me to teach grammar and give exams with the promise that if I didn't, they will report me. Yes, me han forzado a enseñar gramática, a hacer exámenes, porque si no, pues harían que me vinieran a vigilar. So then, very few who thanked me for making the kids so happy during my hour. The system wants people who don't think and who follow orders. People who don't do the things differently. People who comply with all that they say, but nothing more. The system forces teachers to comply with an unsustainable amount of bureaucracy. El sistema fuerza a los profesores a completar una cantidad insostenible de burocracia. No os hacéis una idea. So this leads to teachers not dedicating time for their classes. Because do you know why they keep using the book and grammar? Because it's simple. It's very easy to come to class, grab the book, explain the past simple, assign homework, and sit at your desk to do bureaucracy. What's hard is creating sessions that are fun and also useful. Spending hours and hours creating something that helps students learn real English. But above all, dedicating time and lots of love for making students like English. Because do you know what? If you like something, you'll go for it. And it's much more likely that you'll achieve it. That's why I focus on that. On making my classes fun and truly an experience that my students will always remember. Maybe this podcast is controversial, but I think it's necessary to know the point of view of a teacher who doesn't agree with the system and who has suffered it as both a student and teacher. And now I want to ask you, what's your opinion about the education system in Spain? ¿Cuál es tu opinión sobre el sistema educativo de España? I will read your comments. So, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Viviendo en Pitenglish. I hope my story has inspired and motivated you to continue your own English learning journey. Remember, we all face challenges and frustrations, but the important thing is to not give up and to find a way to enjoy the process. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with someone who might also find it helpful. Tune in to the next episode where we will speak about high sensitivity people, las personas altamente sensibles. So, see you soon and keep living in English. Have a very nice day and don't forget to smile.